just forgot to go live. But hey, if you ever ask ChatGPT, what's the best podcast on affordable housing investments, you will see our podcast pop up, right? And the reason I want to go live today is just share a little bit of the magic behind how the sausage is made, quote unquote. So on Monday, I'm getting ready to release a podcast with Trevor Fay. He's the CEO founder of Copa. Amazing business. Cannot say enough good things about him. Like great character, great guy. I am a full supporter. And he's also one of the trustees for the Los Angeles County Employee Retirement Association, one of the biggest pension funds. Like I think it's 80 or 85 plus $1 billion of assets under management. So it was great to just kind of hear from him. How do you become almost worthy of that role? How do you help people with it? So this podcast is being released on Monday, and now you're going to be able to see, well, how do I get the messages out? And Trevor's a dad, so he and I talked all the different parts about how we range from like lessons that he want to leave for his kids to how does a pension fund decide how to invest their assets, right? These are pension funds that's deploying like 50 to $100 million at once. That's how big of decisions they are. So how do you become worthy of that investment? You have to ask yourself, well, what are they looking for? What are the principles that they determine what is a valuable investment or worthy investment? So I want to start breaking it down, right? So what I try to do is, boom, what's the question he always asks himself? I love that he shared a story from his grandfather that his grandfather always say, did you try your best? And it's always a great question because I've caught myself on certain days where I was like, you know what? I think I could have done that a little bit better. Maybe that's me being hard on myself, but I still believe that that's one way for you to figure out, did you do your best? And right now, I'm just kind of going through. And I don't like how minor details, but and I don't like how the B row starts. I'm just messaging my editor right now with sailing instead of the affordable housing clip. Can we just cut out the sailing B roll part? So I don't like how this is like sailing around the world. I'm assuming this is why I got there. So I'm gonna delete this part. Okay, so that's my edit for that one. Boom. Let's see. Hmm. The relationship every kid should learn. Okay. And this is genuine, right? Like I I want my kids to learn this lesson. Truly, honestly. So that's how I interpret it. All right, Trevor 2. Let's see, Trevor 3. Let's talk about this. Increasing ownership. Let's talk about this. Let's take some background noise here. think Trevor 3. Some background music that's distracting at 0.25. Take out the background. How increasing ownership could change the world. What happens when everyone has a stake in the economy? Let's see, how do I want to... I love this. All right. Let's keep on going. 4. Due diligence. A little typo right there. Your due diligence. Okay. Trevor 4. Your due diligence. Set off. You do it on. Interesting. Copa Hub. Let's see. Copa. Auto dog cross. I'm sure I got this right. Copa. Auto diligence. Let me show you this. Auto diligence. Copa cognition. Written document builder. Okay, I see where she got that from. All right, love it. Let's see. 023. Watching him do the work. That's all I'm doing today. I like that. Can one platform make investing safe for everyone? Ownership? That's a good way of saying it. Interesting. All right, let's see. What is the ownership crisis? see. I don't want to let this be your own. See. Better managing the money. 043 for better managing the money. Perhaps there's a chart. Perhaps we can look for a chart. Perhaps we can look for a chart. Perhaps we can look for a chart that bureau that talks about a well-diversified portfolio. Important one. Okay. Voted on some of that context behind 049, where he said, have we voted on some of the board of directors? So I don't really understand that part. So I'm getting really into details, right? But like this, I care about the content and I want to make sure that we're doing it right. And this part doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to just ask my editor to just double check that. 7, let's talk about it. The real criteria how AR plus pension funds evaluate opportunities for approving investments. Let's see. think there needs to be a different bureau right here. Let's see. Trevor 8042. Let's do a different bureau where it's a circular motion graphic that goes less rent, higher expenses, longer approval cycles, less incentives to build. Okay. So I like going through all these different reels because that helps me understand some of the highlights so far. But I also want to listen to the entire podcast so that I can figure out what is the right reel. So let me kind of share with you what's next, right? So the next thing I think I need to do is go look at the trailer. Let's see, due diligence. So I want to do, let's see, what do I want to do here? So at this point, at 044 of the trailer, let's do a different B-roll where the due diligence has more visuals around rent analysis, operating expenses. So it actually looks like a due diligence spreadsheet or underwriting of real estate assets. Okay, let's keep going. Cells are. Oh, just need the. Uh, 126. Needs to be spelled correctly.
going to extract the first 300 lines of data that are most important to get the deal done, but it's going to increase over time to over 800. We bring all that in. We then compare it against the documents, against what they said, and then we compare those information against third-party information that they can't go back and game. So you can't game your municipal records and your taxes. You can't game Google reviews. You can't game the USPS. So we provide a lot of things that someone else did. Also, we provide a lot of records. So you can
216. That Google Review Bureau needs to be in English.
USPS. So we provide a lot of things that someone else can do. All those things add up and they line up as they're supposed to. We say, great, we give you a task manager to make sure that everything is actually correct. And then once we have all the information that you said is all correct, we say, great, now you want to write your liquidity memo or your credit memo or your offering memorandum. Well, we know it's right. We can go ahead and generate that for you, but it's based off of your update. And that's our first product move to have another 12 that are already in the pipeline. We have 2 that are actually already in prototype, and we'll be able to replace Argus for commercial properties. So we replace Excel, replace debt, replace asset management, property management. We're going to grow because once we have all that data in the first place, now it's about showing it to the right people at the right places and the right times. How do we increase ownership for everybody? Miss, then you don't want to look like a fool, which is optional in the first place. So if I can decrease your downside of something going wrong while you do the help each other and vote in each other's communities and see ourselves who don't have any wealth at all. If you take that psychological safety, see people for who they are, and recognize that we're actually a lot more similar, then the whole world changes because we act differently, we interact differently, we feel differently, we care about our neighbors, and our neighbors, whether they're next door or they're across the globe, we care about that because it actually matters to us. So how can we do that so we can scale that up? And you need a full institutional level of due diligence. We knew about AI before ChatGPT. It's not generative AI where we have to just make up stuff. It's not that. We ingest our first thing that we launched. We created 24,000 lines of data across 80 different documents that are for true deep diligence purposes. Whatever I did in private equity, I've done to do that, doing others experience. Like you can skip the door, and I said that we're actually a lot more similar. Then the whole world changes because we act differently, we interact differently, we feel differently, we care about our neighbors, and our neighbors, whether they're next door or we care about that. So how do we do that so we can scale that up? We need to be a full institutional level due diligence. Through using economics and marketplace and behavioral economics and psychology to get people to be able to own the world in the way they want to. And then Copa Hub is the tool to be able to do that and not get screwed over because oftentimes you don't know what you're doing, you miss, and you don't want to look like a fool.
Copa Hub. I think I'm going to do another. Let's see, Copa Hub. Let's see, Copa Hub products or more. Let's use this right here. I can't do that in Slack. All right, zip that over. Copa. Let's choose this part. I like that one better. Let's use this visual. Market. All right, let's see. Copa Hub. Copa Market products. So I think what I want to do is I want to talk about credibility. So for the trailer,
The hub is the tool to be able to do that and not be screwed over because oftentimes we don't know what you're doing. If you miss, then you don't want to look like a fool, which is not true in the first place. So if I can decrease your downside of something going wrong while you do the underwriting and due diligence on the platform, and then on the other side is the tool to be able to do that around the world, that's their problem. But if you start realizing, well, actually, no, I'm involved with this. I have agency in this. I don't full stop. If we increase ownership in people that know they have a stake in the how do we increase ownership for everybody? Full stop. If we increase ownership in people that know they have a stake in the economy, I mean, I have a stake in your life. Generally, most people don't feel as much of a connection. It's like, oh, if there's a problem around the world, that's their problem. But if you start realizing, well, actually, no, I'm involved with this. I have agency in this. I don't want to be a passive receiver of, but I'm an actor in. Then the world can change. So, Copa Market really did means to do it through using economics and marketplace and behavioral economics and psychology to get people to be able to own the world in the way they want to. And then Copa Hub is the tool to be able to do that and not be screwed over because oftentimes we don't know what you're doing. If you miss, and you don't want to look like a fool, which is not true in the first place. So if I can decrease your downside of something going wrong while you do the underwriting and due diligence on the platform, and then on the other side, I can make sure that people have access to wealth and economic growth, and that we can actually help each other and own in each other's communities and see ourselves as that natural that we all, as our human selves are. And of course, also gives some financial stability that a lot of people don't have any wealth at all. If you take that psychological safety, see people for who they are, and recognize that we're actually a lot more similar, then the whole world changes because we act differently, we interact differently, we feel differently, we care about our neighbors, and our neighbors go to
how do I make this better?
across the road. We care about that because it actually matters to us. So how can we do that so we can scale that up? We need to be on full institutional level due diligence. We knew about AI before ChatGPT. It's not generative AI where we have to just make up stuff. There's not that. We ingest our first thing that we launched. We prepared the first 24,000 lines of data across 80 different documents that are for true deep diligence. Whatever I did in private equity, I've done $2.5 million experience. My team has done. We've taken all that we've known, all the things that we've done in investment, whether we're into investment community or anything else, and we say, great, someone, a broker, a seller, a borrower is going to apply. They're going to give you 80 documents you have to do for due diligence. We're going to extract
How do I do this?
300 lines of data that are most important to get rid of them. It's going to increase over time to over 800. We bring all that in. We then compare it against the documents, against what they said, and then we compare those information against third-party information that they can't go back and gain. So you can't gain your municipal records, your taxes. You can't gain Google reviews. You can't gain the USPS. So we provide a lot of things that someone else, all those things add up and they line up the way they're supposed to. We say, great, we give you a tax manager, make sure everything is right. Then once we have all information that you said is all correct, we say, great, now you want to write your investment committee memo or your credit memo or your offering memorandum. We know what's right. We can go ahead and generate that for you, but it's based off of your own data. And that's our first product. We'll have another 12.
That helps a lot with underwriting.
Two that are actually already in prototype. And we'll be able to replace Market so next week will grow because once we have
It's 255. Let's see. And photo. The video was a screenshot I just showed you.
Because once we have all that data in the first place, now it's about showing it to the right people at the right places and the right times.
So I actually like this better. I like the second half better.
For their see people for who they are and recognize that we're actually a lot more similar, then the whole world changes because we act differently, we interact differently, we feel differently, we care about our neighbors. And our neighbors, whether they're next door or they're across the globe, we care about them because it actually matters to us. So how can we do that so we can scale that up? It needs to be a full, of course, also give some financial stability because a lot of people don't have any wealth at all. If you take that psychological state of economic growth and that we can actually help each other and vote in each other's communities and see ourselves as
Interesting.
I can decrease your downside, which is not from the first place. So if I can.
I think I like starting from here.
And then Copa Hub is the tool to be able to.
Maybe we'll start with Copa Hub.
Tool to be able to do that and not get. And then Copa Hub is the tool to be able to do that and not get screwed over because oftentimes you don't know what you're doing, you miss, and you don't want to look like a fool, which is not from the first place. So if I can decrease your downside, it means do it through. But I'm an actor, and then the world can change. So Copa Market.
So Copa Market. All right, let's just start there. All right. So what I think is we have to start it from right at Copa Market. So let's talk about this. What I want to do is, so for the trailer, I think we should start with Trevor talking about his background because people need to understand why you want to. Like I learned this from Alex Hormozy. You got to start there first.
Those things add up that they want to. It's not a full institutional level due diligence. We knew about AI before ChatGPT. This stuff. Our first is of that we ingest. It's not generative AI. It's a little. We care about that because it actually matters to us. So how can we do that so we can scale that up? It needs to be a full institutional level due diligence. We knew about AI before ChatGPT. It's not just make up stuff. That's data of due diligence. Whatever I did in private equity, I have due diligence on 8 different documents. That 24,000 lines. There's no that. We ingest. Our first.
We ingest.
24,000 lines of data across 8 different documents that are for true due diligence. Whatever I did in private equity, I've done $2.5 billion experience. My team has done 12. We've taken all that we've known, all the things that we could have ever asked for that go into investment here.
Yeah, we should start at 132.
Our first stuff, there's no that. Right? Where we have to just make up stuff. There's no that.
We ingest. So we should start there. We should start. Okay. About we ingest at 130 so we can qualify. All right, so here's what's happening here. What I care about is so we can qualify Trevor's history and experience of him and his team doing 2.5 billion and 12 billion total in transaction volume. See, this is what's important, right? Because for someone to think, okay, why should I listen to this guy? For someone that has never ever met Trevor, right? What's his history? All right, so he's done about $2.5 billion in private equity. His team has done over 12 billion in transaction volume. So we had to start there because people need to figure out, okay, why am I listening to this guy? What has he done in terms of volume? What has he transacted, right? Unfortunately, it's proof, it's credibility. People need to figure out like who they're listening to, and it's better that you establish that upfront. So after we get through the second half of the trailer for what it was, right? So that's useful. And then I think we go back and then we flip the order actually. Then we flip the order back to, then we flip the order back to the genesis of Copa, starting at 22. The trailer. If we have space, we should include the information that Trevor shared about how we should include the part where I asked Trevor, what are the principles for how a $80 billion pension fund evaluates decisions? Evaluates investment decisions, investment opportunities. So here's what I want to do, right? So at the end of the day, let's see. Then try other bureau. Edits to the current trailer. Min/second marks. And at the end of the day, the structure for the trailer can be one, why should we listen to Trevor? What is his solution? In this case, it's COPA. And three, even though someone has the solution, how do they think like a sophisticated trustee of a $80 billion pension fund, right? So this is how I want the person to walk away with at the very beginning. They need to get as much value as possible. So in the beginning, it's like, okay, Robinson and Trevor, he has over $2.5 billion in transaction volume himself. His team has done 12 billion. Here, what's the solution? It's COPA. It's COPA market that allows you to see different opportunities. It's COPA Hub that allows you to figure out what is the actual opportunity and whether or not it's an opportunity. Then at the end of it, it's like, well, how do I know I'm evaluating this decision properly? Well, let me take the same framework, the same principle that a $80 billion trustee is the type of question that they're asking about asset allocation, about the sponsor's track record and experience, right? That's what I want to get through. That's what I want to understand. All right. So that's how I want to generally go about this. So at the end of the day, all we care about is why am I sending Trevor? What's the solution? In this case, it's COPA. And three, even though that's a solution, for someone that isn't a wise investor, right? Even though they have all these tools, what other questions should they ask? And those principles, that the same evaluation framework that you take to evaluate those opportunities can be applied to small or large investments. In this case, for an $80 billion pension fund, they're always asking, well, what's my asset allocation? Am I completely full in this, right? I don't want to over allocate to this asset class. And then what is the sponsor's track record? What is the fund manager's track record? Do they have an experience? Do they have a special sauce that allows them to outperform the market? That's what I want to know at the end of the day. So just that's a high level concept of what I'm trying to get to. All right, hope this helped for everybody. I just wanted you to see how we're going about this. Have a good one, everybody. See you tomorrow.